Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to Kottabos Space Program, where today we are having a look at the Where Can I Go mod, which was originally made by user Gavin Zach. It has now been rebuilt though by Severed Solo, and what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is a very handy little UI that'll read the delta V of your ship and give you a list of places where you can and cannot get to. Well, provided you fly efficiently and effectively. So let's jump into the vehicle assembly building and have a gander at what we do get. Now let's just grab ourselves one of the pre-built crafts, such as the Kerbal X here, and load it on up. Now of course we do have things like the Delta V tool here, which is pretty cool and works very nicely, but what if you're wanting to see your options, so to speak? Well, you can just go over to this handy button here, which will open up the Where Can I Go UI. And it's pretty simple here. It just shows us a list of celestial bodies. If you can fly by it, orbit it, or even get a synchronous orbit, and if possible, can you land there? And that's all pretty cool. I actually really do like that. So of course for, say, Drez, well, flyby is marginal, orbiting is definitely a no with this rocket, and landing also most certainly a no. And what's really fun about this is it doesn't just tell you, well, you may be able to get there or can't get there, but it'll show you actually how much you're off by. So say for instance with Drez, if we wanted to get into orbit, we'd need an additional 998 meters per second to be able to achieve it. And that's actually really nice. You can begin to adjust the construction of your craft based off of how much more you need to go before you can accomplish your goal. And of course it does tell you, and with the places you can get to, by how much basically over you are. So if you do need a little bit of leeway, you can know that, well, yeah, you can get into orbit of a Gilly and you have a positive 842 meters per second. You can kind of adjust to close that margin there to be a bit more efficient with your flights. Now, as for landings, some of them are marked, like say with Duna having a little star by the yes, and that if we come down to the bottom here, that is of course assuming your craft has enough parachutes. This will not calculate for parachutes, but just if you have basically the fuel to get there. Now this is of course for a one-way journey. If you are looking to come back, well, you just gotta hit this button right here for return trip, and it will recalculate and tell you, well, if you can make it back or not. And I just love all the information it does give you here. If you're good to go all the way through, it's all green, but then say with the moon, well, you know that, oh boy, well, coming back might be a problem. It'll be a bit marginal, but if you fly it right, you might be able to do it. And that's just a lot of fun information and very, very useful, as again, you can adjust the design of your ship while you're in here to try and better fit in with where you're wanting to go on that mission. And it doesn't just show this information here. If we do head out to launch, now on the launch pad, it actually will not show you where you can and cannot go. And I'll show that here in a second when we are here. If we click this button, well, there we go. No data available. We have to achieve a stable orbit first. Now, when we're looking at the Where Can I Go in the VAB, you know, it's kind of assuming you're gonna fly that mission correctly and as efficiently as possible. But once you actually get to launch, especially for me, yeah, maybe you take too much fuel to get into orbit, so you don't really want to rely on the calculation here. Instead, if we actually head to the tracking station where I put up a Kerbal X earlier, we can go to this one in orbit and go to fly it, and we'll then hit on our Where Can I Go button, and the list has updated. Areas that were previously marginal are now a big fat no, because I did not get into orbit effectively. As you can see here with Drez, we are now 15 meters per second short of a flyby, whereas in the vehicle assembly building, it was a possibility. And I love that. It does update it once you are in orbit, and it's very, very handy in that regard. And of course, once you do get into orbit around another world, you can recalculate there. And of course, once again, we have the return trip button here if you do want to make it back to glorious Kerbin. But yeah, that is really it for this mod. It's just a handy, useful tool to not only help you with the design of your ships, but also the planning of your missions here once you're in flight. So if you'd like to take a look at this for yourself, which I would certainly recommend you go and do, you can have a look at the link in the description as per usual. But that is going to be it for today, my friends. I hope you all have enjoyed. You do come back for the next, but until that time, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one.